Live from London, Car-Boyz. Oh, we are very much
Hello.
live as you can be. Well, actually, if you're watching this as a recording, we're not very live, but we were live when we recorded it.
Yeah, obviously.
How does that work now with podcasts? We're live, but we're live as when we recorded it.
I think we're as live.
Basically, we don't edit this. You may not have noticed, but the mistakes, it goes start recording, finish recording. Nobody edits this. We don't cut any swears out. We don't do anything. It is live as you see it, as live. There you go. The show returns, of course, once again, like a second or third or fourth pandemic lockdown. I don't forget how many lockdowns we've had in the past year. Pretty much feels like Groundhog Day, though, once again. I know one thing, I won't be going to the pub. News out yesterday, I don't think we'll be allowed outside after 6 p.m. as well.
What?
Because we
Wow.
have the PNAS.
Wow.
We don't.
Yes.
I might get a sex change so I could go to the pub. That could be a way forward. Fear not, though. We're here to spice up your life and make that gap between getting up on Monday morning, having that first bit on Friday night slightly more pleasurable. Coming up the show this week, we've got all the news that's not fit to print in the news. We're going to be delving into your correspondence in the part of the show we like to call the mail bag. And we have a mainstay of British motoring from the 60s, 70s, and even into the 1980s in our classic car selection. Now, it's a proper two-seater sports car that can be had for peanuts. A British classic sports car. And before you ask, not an MG, not an Austin Healey, or a TR6. And talking of classic British designs, here's Simon.
Here I am.
You are
classic
here.
Design. By that, they really did break the mold with me.
Yes, they did.
Although they did make a copy with Ainsley Harriott. But I digress. We have
Actually,
a great show.
I have seen you on channel. You've appeared on Channel 4, you know, in your other guise as the host of the Kiss Breakfast Show.
Yes.
Channel 4 recently. Looking good.
I'll tell you something off air about that.
All right. Okay, interesting. Have you been using it as your profile on Tinder again?
No, I'll tell you afterwards.
Okay.
The viewers don't want to know, but I'll tell you because you'll get it.
All right,
but anyway, we digress. We've got a great show on the way today with somewhere exciting, international, and exotic in the Lost Highway section of the show. We're going to African continent and to just outside America for our destinations this week. We have a great quiz that will test your motoring knowledge. This week it is the Car-Boyz theory test.
Oh, okay. I'm quite old.
I
never did a theory test.
That's what we will establish. And speaking of old, we'll be asking the age-old question of how many people can you fit in a Mini Cooper? Well, if you're the mayor for London, Sadiq Khan, the answer is too many because he'd rather have you cycling and walking rather than in the Mini.
He's here all week.
We'll get to that and Richard's ranting.
We will.
So stay tuned for all of that and more. And I'm Simon Sidgwick, and well, she's all. Sorry, I had it in my head, and that's what I was saying. Well, she always knows her place. She's got style. She's got grace. She's a winner. Whoa, she's a lady. Oh, she's a lady. She's talking that lady. The lady is mine.
I think pick the perfect song for you to sing there. The show's very own Tom Jones impersonator, Simon Suji, with a song for all the ladies. I think they would probably push you down the coal mine as opposed to pushing you towards the vocal if you were born in Wales. I'm Richard Green, and you can dress me in your mirror, give me kisses forever and a day, yeah. But there's one thing you don't have to say. You don't have to say you love me. You don't have to say any prayers. No, you don't have to say you love me because, baby, it's all right because, honey, I don't care.
Wendy James.
Yeah, with I Don't Care, which is how I feel about the extended royal family, whatever colour they are. Well, apart from the green ones, I hate the green members of the royal family. Of course, we've got a new sponsor. It's Royal Water.
Yes.
And like Turkish Delight, it's full of racist promise. It's and what does it taste like? Bland, and in the way I feel about the royal family.
They don't watch the show, so
nothing spectacular. Unlike the royal family, it will be £30 million a bottle. think we're going to
This
get the
is
money
if you
back
had
from the royal wedding. I want the money back now.
which one?
All of them. I think they should be forced to go to Weatherspoons, have a Weatherspoons wedding, and you're like
That would be interesting.
maximum of 50.
Yeah.
Because you know in the East End of London, you can hire a Weatherspoons on a Saturday for a wedding.
Really? That's classy.
It's genius. Yeah, no. So the City of London, I know it is a city. If you're American, you go, wow, just share it. No, the old City of London is a financial district in the UK, and outside of COVID, it is always empty from midday on a Friday through to Monday morning. So the pubs in there, the Weatherspoons pubs, are offering a wedding in a Weatherspoons pub. I mean, being a tight-fisted git, that sounds wicked. Burger and a pint for everybody for a £5.
That's 100 quid behind the bar.
100 quid behind the bar, which would buy a lot of drinks in a Weatherspoons. I think it's a wonderful idea. And the bride and groom get to stay at the pub overnight. Well,
yes.
Class. Absolute class. This, of
By the
course,
way, this, I was going to say,
this is
Car-Boyz.
Welcome to this show. Time now for Richard's Rant. It's when I take a sideways view of the world from mine own, and I would argue, warped perspective. Unlike other sections of the podcast, this will not be an open debate or even a mass debate. It's not that sort of channel. You have to check out my OnlyFans for that. No, I shall rule this kingdom as God King.
I'm shocked you know what that is.
No, I know. You can make some serious money doing that.
Oh, yes.
But more of that later in the
us.
show. I shall rule this kingdom, in Richard's take, as God King and my word is law. Now, this week, if you live in our fair capital city, London, or any large conurbation in the UK, you kind of failed to notice that the schools went back on Monday. And the level of traffic rose to that not seen by commuters. And by that, I mean those of us who need to go to work and can't just zoom from our bedrooms in our pajamas to pre-pandemic levels. My commute to work on Wednesday took me 50 minutes to cover 6 miles. The commute the previous week took me 15 minutes, 1-5. So yes, more congestion on our streets created by children going back to school, and to be honest, lots of folks saying bugger it and going back to the office. The wonderful city that I live in has decided to try and get as many roadworks in before we officially come down lockdown in June. This has meant that although there are fewer cars on the road, the 6 sets of roadworks, I did say 6, that I have to pass on my 6-mile commute make it seem like we're in the usual levels of rush hour. Interestingly enough, there was an article in the Guardian newspaper that was printed before the pandemic by a guy called Professor Tony Travers of the London School of Economics, which is a rather prestigious place that I went to. Yep. That's where I went to school. He said London has achieved the impossible by eradicating the private car and still having desperate traffic congestion. People aren't in cars. People aren't saying we need to get cars off the road in central London. There aren't any private cars on the road. Now, what he's referring to is Uber drivers, taxis, Deliveroo motorbikes, Amazon vans, the Argos delivery vans, delivery trucks, UPS vans, London city buses, HGVs, and everything else that a city needs to function as a city. It's all very well getting people to walk, catch a bus, or get onto a bicycle, but if you need to get a parcel from Tokyo, a plumber to fix a leaking pipe, or 30 tons of hardcore, and by that I mean rubble, not porn, for a new building project, you're going to need a vehicle to transport it. Mind you, if you do need 30 tons of hardcore porn, you also need a van to transport it. If you've got a bicycle, it won't cut it. But when will a bike cut it? Unless you live a couple of miles away from your work. I have to cross 3 or 4 major junctions to get to my desk, which is 6-7 miles away. I have used public transport. It's expensive and it's always late. I have cycled, but you can't do that and drop off 2 children on the way to school. On the way into your work, and as soon as the British weather shows its true colours, and by that I mean it pisses down from on high, the last thing I want to do is get on a bicycle. So what's the answer to improving out the way our cities work? Well, the pandemic aside, because it ain't getting on a bus or a train until this thing is over, I tell you that for a fact. No, when things return to normal, the way to encourage people to use public transport and free up the roads is to make it so cheap to take the bus and the train that going any other way doesn't make sense. Sadiq Khan, the London mayor, the totalitarian totalitarian regime that run London Transport, they both need to wake the hell up and realise that using a stick and not a carrot will get you voted out of office very quickly. You need to tackle this thing with some serious funding and make it so cheap and so convenient as to get to where you're going via a private car makes no sense. Now, if you don't believe me, I suggest you go to Amsterdam, you go to Brussels, you go to Berlin. You'll see public transport working efficiently 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Then go to Los Angeles and New York, where you'll see it doesn't work at all because there's no funding for it. Until you tackle the appalling public transport in this town, London Transport, get off our backs, let us drive around the city. A city, I might add, we actually pay for. Simon, any thoughts?
Yeah, well, it took me, there was an extra half hour on my journey in the morning driving to work. It takes me about an hour and 15 minutes. It took me about an hour and 45 this week.
Nice.
Extra set of roadworks because there's a giant hole and nobody working in one of the roads.
That's always good.
And then on top of that, they're installing more cameras down the little side roads as well.
Yes, this is the. I love the people. I think it's of Bromley who have been setting fire to the flower boxes that have been placed in the centre of the road. I noticed your sister posted something about on Facebook.
Yeah.
About a bridge in
Yes.
sunny Edmonton where they've placed 2 flower boxes.
Yeah.
Now, if they want to really do it properly, block the road off. But you've put 2 sort of these big square boxes. I'd say they're 4 foot by 4 foot, 4 foot high, full of earth with flowers, and a sign saying cars can't come down here. But actually, if you just zoom around the boxes, you can go down there, but then you get a fine. So it's nothing about blocking. And why is the road blocked anyway? What is it doing? I will not be getting on a bicycle if I work as a delivery driver. I won't be on a bicycle as a plumber. I won't get on a bicycle round here if I've got to go 6 miles to work in the pissing rain. No, I'm in a car. So suck it the F up and let me get in my car. It's pretty simple. Without me, this thing doesn't work. Because if we decide tomorrow to up sticks and get out of London, there's nobody left in London. Then there's nobody paying any taxes. The city needs goods and commodities and people to get in and out. And I'm afraid that means having a car.
I think you've hit the nail on the head that there needs to be some kind of incentive for you to say, right, okay, I don't need a car.
I could
use public transport.
Well, I'll take us back to the 1970s. And as much as I don't like Ken Livingstone as a former mayor, he was head of something called the GLC.
Yeah.
The GLC in the late 70s introduced fares fare. Late 70s, early 80s. I remember as a child getting on the tube for 2 pence.
Wow.
There was a big sign that said 2p. And this is 40 odd years ago. But it was cheap then. I have a sort of second cousin who has a company that White Line Roads. And he was telling me, he's about 10, 15 years older than me. He remembered when Fares Fair came in, and he said you couldn't get on a bus. They were all packed. They had to employ more bus drivers. They had to get more buses, and there were no cars on the road because people went, the bus is so cheap, I'm going to jump on the bus. And everybody did it. And it all functioned and it all worked. So if you want to do it, that's the way to do it. You go to New York. I got a train out of Newark to go into New York to, was it Penn Station? It was the most excruciatingly painful experience of my life. It was terrible work because it's privately funded, and you have to put public transport only works. So that the name will give it away. It's called public transport.
Exactly.
It only works if you put government funding into it. So there you go. There's the answer. Just get onto it, and we'll have a rant that might involve something else next week. Shall we have some news?
Let's have some news. And first off, new car sales lower than when the Mini first hit the streets news. That's the original Mini, not the new one. Registrations of new cars have dropped to the lowest level in February for 62 years, industry figures have confirmed. A total of just over 50,000 new models were purchased last month, which is the fewest since 1959, the year the original Mini went on sale. The month marked a 36% year-on-year decline in vehicle registrations, with February 2020 being the final month of the last year that impacted by coronavirus restrictions. As staggering as the numbers look, the sales results are not surprising. Car showrooms have been closed nationwide since the 5th of January, which is when we've been in lockdown, as part of the latest lockdown measures, which has seen significant burden on motor traders. While dealerships are still able to sell vehicles online and complete transactions with click and collect handovers, quite sure how that works, both private and fleet sector demand fell by 37% and 34% respectively. One shining light in the statistics released on Thursday is the continued growth of electrified vehicles. Sales of pure electric cars, referred to as battery electric vehicles or BEV, in the report, rose by 40%. To 3,000, just 3,516 units in total. It's not much, is it? Plug-in hybrid registrations also grew by 52%, with 3,131 bought last month.
You want to buy a car? There's a great car.
However, increasing uptake of these new technologies to the levels required by 2030 remains a mammoth task, as the trade body warned, especially with yesterday's budget, or the budget that was last week. No, it was this week. Finds outline any new measures to support the industry to accelerate the transition away from new petrol and diesel cars and vans that will be banned from sale in 2030 here in the UK.
Yeah, let's not hold our breath on that.
No.
Let's see what happens economically in 2 years' time when the country's in the shitter because we've had to pay all this furlough wages. We'll see what happens in 2 years' time, and then when this current government's vote, they can promise what they like. They can promise that we're all going to live on pink rainbows and fly to the moon on a regular basis. The reality is, when push comes to shove, people need to pay bills, and petrol cars are the way to do it. And believe me, it probably will be. I think electric cars will be out the door. That's just my personal opinion. The reality is we're 100 years away from anything approaching everybody having use of something like electric cars. And maybe it would help if we sort of invented nuclear fusion. Not saying that the government are sitting on nuclear fusion, but why hasn't it appeared?
Exactly.
Sorry, go on. You were going to say.
No, that's all good.
Okay. Meanwhile, in petrol prices set to rise despite the freeze on duty news, UK Chancellor Rishi Sunak has confirmed the future. There he is. Hello. Looking like what's wrong with his trousers?
I don't know, but can I just say he looks like a giant in this photo.
He does actually. Look at the size of the copper. Hello. Is he the BFG?
Yes.
The South Asian BFG. But if you wore trousers like that when I went to school, people would say, "Where's the flood?" What's
yes.
Did his mum not let them down? Can you let his trousers down? You know, when you were a kid and you went to secondary school, and your mum would your mum would buy trousers 3 times too bigger, and then they'd turn them up, and then you'd see the lines as you grew.
Yes, gradually,
the trousers down, and his trousers look like they've not been turned down. I got myself a red briefcase. I'm off to school. Anyway, yes, Chancellor Rishi Sunak has confirmed fuel duty is going to be frozen for a 10th consecutive year. The decision today in the budget means the tax paid on petrol and diesel still remains at almost 60p a litre. That's been the case since 2011. If you're listening to in America, that's about the price you pay, I think, in California for petrol, which is the most expensive place in the US. We pay double that, so it's the 60p plus another 60p to go for profit for Saudi sheikhs. As a result, the tax currently accounts for around 47% of what drivers pay for at the pumps, as I've just said. But even now, without an increase in fuel duty, the RAC is warning as greater uncertainty over the future of forecourt prices, with fears of further looming rises as oil spikes. The decision has been welcomed by the industry insiders and drivers alike, as the hold on fuel duty comes as escalating oil prices in recent weeks push forecourt prices higher by around £5 since November, confirming the extension to the fuel duty freeze this after. Well, I should say last week. Rishi Sunak said, "Right now we need to keep the cost of living low. I'm not prepared to increase the cost of a tank of fuel or buy a briefcase that actually suits the size of me." Look at my very small briefcase.
It looks very uncomfortable in that picture.
Boris, what shall I do now? The government claims this will currently cumulatively save the average driver £1,600 compared to the pre-2010 escalator. The ongoing freeze has widely expected following Boris Johnson's signalling that on the Chancellor would avoid raising the levy on petrol and diesel. He insisted the economy will be recovered. Recovery of this British economy will be powered by the white van man, who will be driving a petrol or a diesel van, not an electric one. By the end of February, motorists were paying an average of 123.38 pence for petrol. That's up from 120.22 at the start of the month. Diesel's gone up an average of 3 pence, which doesn't sound a lot, but when you're filling up a giant truck, 3 pence a litre
adds up.
Americans are going to be very shocked at how much we actually pay for this. So yeah, I think it's a bit of a look over here. We're doing this over here, but we're going to take it away from you in other ways. One way they are taking away. I don't know if you've had your road tax recently. Mine's gone up about £30. My road tax was about £270. This year it's £300. My wife's was about £220. Hers is now £250. The road tax is on its way up.
Yeah, mine's not due, I think, till May. So
good luck with that, and also with the news that they spend about 10% of that goes on the roads.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, and in new plate means a lot of discounts news, with car showrooms doors shut until April 12th, which is a good date, at the very earliest as part of Boris Johnson's roadmap out of lockdown. Dealers are, from the start of this week, handing over the keys to new models with latest 21 registration plates, while still under the tough COVID-19 restrictions. I did see one on the road yesterday morning. I did.
Was it this one?
Yes, 21 plate
Light.
However,
from Birmingham.
Light.
Light.
However, this is not to say that buyers can't strike a discount on new motors just because they can't haggle in person. A sales representative they can't haggle with a representative. Though on the contrary, in fact, What Car, the magazine, has revealed 12. What Car has revealed 12 popular new models with the best savings. They've struck with dealers already in 2021. The deals have shaving up to 18% of retail prices. March marks the arrival of the first of 2 new registration numbers that come each year, making it one of the most profitable months for dealers. Going back to a time when coronavirus wasn't having a huge economical impact and restrictions, it has this year and last year. A fifth of new models bought in the entirety of 2019 were purchased in March. While retailers will be disappointed that the Prime Minister's measures for easing lockdown would have included letting them reopen for business in the busy period, they are still unable to sell vehicles using click. They still are able to sell using click and collect sales online, and drivers can reap the rewards of big discounts, says What Car. So let's have another Top of the Pops or TOTP style countdown as we look at the best car discounts to be had this week. Here's Rich.
That's right, 21 today, 21 today. Never been 21 before. Here's the keys to the door. I'm 21 today. Well, enough of that. Let's get on with the countdown. The top 5 motors with the biggest discounts that are hitting the high streets this week. Well, in at number 5, it sounds like an American rapper, but it goes like shit off a shovel. They may lie about emission levels, but what they don't lie about are discounts. With a whopping 11% off the target price, it's the VW T-Roc that comes in brand new at just over £35,000. Chasing at number 4, the same car, but with a Spanish flavour. The Seat Ateca can be yours for less than £30,000. A massive 14% discount. We're halfway through our top 5 countdown of cars that are being given the massive discounts by dealers in the UK. And if you like your tea and crumpets served at exactly 4 o'clock, then this British classic will be right up your street. At number 3, for all those aspiring landed gentry, the Land Rover Evoque comes in with 14% slashed off its price. You too can drive a Chelsea tractor for less than 42 grand. Meanwhile, taking the silver medal with a discount of 17%, it's the Swedes. ABBA dominated the 1970s, and Volvo are dominating the number 2 spot with a 17% discount on this new XC40. It can be yours for a mere 38 grand. For the number 1 spot this week for the most discounted car released onto a 21 plate. And we're back to the sunny shores of Spain. Hola. The Seat Arona can be bought for a mere £20,000. This stylish SUV comes with a huge 18% off. What a bargain. 20 grand for a Seat.
Not off.
Now, in reality, not half. I've hurt myself there. This is just dealers cutting back their margins.
Yeah.
Come buy my car. This is just dealers cutting back their margins. Have you noticed as well? This is, I think, from a movie Danny DeVito was in. And look, the car dealership was called Wormwood, like the prison Wormwood Scrubs. Is it Metal Men? I can't remember the name of that. Was it somebody will send us an email and tell us what movie? Danny DeVito and who was the guy that played Kurt Russell? I think they were called Metal Men, and they were selling cars. Yeah, car dealers are absolute scumbags. Sorry if you're listening to this and you're a car dealer. It's all about margins, and especially new cars. All of this is great. 17%, 18%, 3 grand here, 4 grand there. Yep. Walk off a car dealership, you automatically slice off 20% of the value of a car on a brand new.
It's still a lot of money for a new car, though, as well.
Yeah, 42 grand. Who's got that? Certainly not people that listen to this show, and not your not us. Finally, and watch out, Elon Musk. There's a new kid in town news. Terra Motors is reporting gearing up to roll out its first mass-produced solar car by the end of the year. And I've just realised I got a picture of it at night, but it is working.
Nice.
We reported last year that this company will retail the cars for as low as $25,900. So that's about £20,000, making it an affordable option compared to other vehicles on the market. Now, the car is considered ultra aerodynamic. Look at it here. It's an ultra aerodynamic electric vehicle which moves on 3 wheels and takes away the potential loss of energy. Also prevents users from collecting a federal tax credit. Don't know what that is, but apparently it does. The car's covered by a 34 square feet of solar cells. It can take the car around 40 miles a day just on the solar cells themselves. Aptera's creators, Chris Anthony and Steve Fambro, so the car is 4 times more efficient than the average electric vehicle, 13 times more efficient than a pickup truck that uses gas as fuel. By that, we mean petrol. The design of the vehicle features notable curves in the front and the back, help reduces drag. Ultralight carbon composites and fiberglass make up the rest of the car. It can be partially created with a 3D printer. The car can go from 0 to 60, wait for it, in 3.5 seconds. Top speed of 110. It is a 2-seater. Daily use, the car does not need any charging if you live in California. The vehicle is equipped with a battery pack that provides up to, wait for it, 1,000 miles of range.
That's
much greater than the Tesla's S's 370. The Aptera has sold out. The first 330 cars went within 24 hours and have since found almost 7,500 people willing to put down a deposit for a future car. So this is an electric car, in my opinion, that makes a lot of sense. It looks weird. It's not a very good picture. It just shows you the 3 wheel. This is a better picture. It's basically
in the dark.
In the dark. Hang on, let's try and. I like the. I printed that out because I like the headlight. I thought the headlight looked cool.
That is pretty cool.
It's a 2-seater with sort of cycle wings, and yeah, it basically, if you lived on a sunny place, you'd never have to charge this car. If you were going to just drive around, say, I mean, what's the average you do a day commuting around a city? 40. As long as you sit in the sun charging up, you'll never need to charge this car, which is great. So of course, all the fuel companies will make sure this never comes to fruition. Just saying. Oh, and there is the other thing that big oil companies like. I'm not going to mention any names. I don't want to be sued. They've got better lawyers than I have. So big oil companies want you to use electric because electric can't be used all the time because there is no way of storing electric. I mean, I know Elon Musk has come up with a few battery ideas, but California constantly has to give away the electricity that it creates with solar panels and wind farms to other states because it has no way of storing that electricity. So oil companies like it because that means you've got to use gasoline and you've got to use oil. Yeah.
Until they can invent a capacitor where you can store that energy.
Which they haven't. All of this hasn't been related. So giving us 9 years to get rid of our petrol cars is a complete fallacy. I feel it's jazz time. Shall we have some? Should we get the band in? Oh, hang on. Where are the band? Oh, hang on. I've got guys. You need to get a bit organised. Come on, all together now. Sorry, they're just setting up. Excuse me. Yes, that's it. That's it, chaps. Are you ready? You ready? 3, 2, 1. No. Yeah, inject the heroin. Here we go. Here's the jazz band. That music, of course, means that the furloughed jazz band are back. They haven't been away, actually. They haven't been furloughed, have they? They've been working for me from home.
Yeah, pretty much so.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
they're,
work
they're
from
still
home.
going. It's, of course, the classic car selection. Time now for the classic car selection. It's where we take a diamond in the rough, a car that's been overlooked, a motor that's been left to rust in the weeds and given a bit of care and attention. We present you a vehicle that will be a future classic but can be bought right now for pennies. A champagne lifestyle on a beer budget. That's what we're all about. And this week we turn our attention to just such a vehicle, a car that for almost 20 years gave the impression of sporty, slick motoring with a touch of panache, but delivered on the cheapest possible budget. It's a sexy looking Italian design car that's underpinnings were neither sporty or exciting, but it became the mainstay of British two-seater open-top motoring for baby boomers. The car I'm talking about, and this one in mimosa yellow, is of course the Triumph Spitfire. Look at
I
that
found a
bad
yellow
boy.
one too.
Oh, I do like a mimosa yellow with steels instead of
Ooh.
alloys. Now, the car was styled for Standard Triumph in 1957 by an Italian designer, Giovanni Michelotti. The Spitfire was manufactured for its duration of production at the Canley Works in Coventry and evolved over a series of 5 production iterations with more than 300,000 manufactured over almost 20 years. Developed on a shortened variant, the Triumph Herald chassis, the Spitfire shared the Herald's running gear and the standard SC engine at the start. The design used a body-on-frame construction augmented by structural components within the bodywork and rear trailing arms attached to a body rather than the chassis. A manually deployable convertible top, which means you had to put it up yourself, are substantially improved on later models, provided weather protection, and a bespoke hardtop was available as a factory option. Popular in street racing and rally racing, Spitfires won numerous SCCA National Sports Car Championships in F and G production classes. They won its class in the 1964 Tour de France Rally, coming overall second, and won the 1964 Geneva Rally. The Spitfire name, of course, refers to the World War II British fighter plane of the same name, but it didn't have a Rolls-Royce Merlin engine. This car ceased production at the Canley Works in Coventry in 1980, and the last Spitfire was an Inca yellow. Sorry, I said mimosa yellow. It was Inca yellow.
Ooh.
Produced the UK model, including a factory hardtop and overdrive options. So why buy one? Well, I'm glad you asked, which you didn't, but I'm going to tell you. It is a proper rear-wheel drive front engine sports car that's more sporty and cheaper than MG, but it won't break the bank to keep going and enjoy chucking round country lanes in the summer. Yes, you could get an 1800 Triumph Roadster from the 1940s and look like Jim Bergerac, or you could get a 1970s GT6, or you could even get a Triumph late 60s, early 70s TR6 with the rest of the baby boomers, but they're all going to cost you well over £10,000 to get hold of. The Spitfire is small, nippy, two-seater roadster. It's pure fun, it's honest, and it can be had at half the price. And I'm going to show you a picture now. If you like getting your hands dirty, this is a look at it. It's a very easy car to work on. There's virtually nothing there. There's 2 bits of strange plywood at the front. And the engine, it's almost like a kit car. But
no wings to lean over.
No, the whole thing just comes off in one. You can just get on with that. And if you like fiddling around, getting your hands greasy, adjusting the carburetors, tinkering, putting some new spark plugs in, you can do that yourself. There is a but though, and like J-Lo and the Kardashians, it's a big but. Let me tell you about the problems. They are legion. Rust is a Spitfire killer. Easy to spot when looking over a car, easy to fix. You got to do it correctly. Check the sills; they've got to be rust-free. That's where they corrode. It's where they meet the rear wings. It's a tough fix here. Take a look at the leading edges. Just look for holes everywhere, and also in the floor plan as well. So get the carpets up. The best buy we reckon is late 70s to 1980. It's the 1.5 litre engine, but that can suffer from crank wear along with pistons and rings. Blue smoke under acceleration is a giveaway, but again, costs aren't out of order to repair or replace. If the engine has had it, the best bet is to exchange it for a rebuilt unit. That's going to cost you about £1,000. Check the transmission, check the synchromesh is good, listen and feel for bulking between gears. It's a sure sign it's worn. If it is, budget on 300 or so. Exchange. DIY replacement is a piece of cake. Take the old gearbox out, put a new one in. Check the brakes and the front suspension. Make sure the bushes have been replaced at some point and make sure the brakes work. They're usually okay. Weirdly, best thing on this car is the electrics, and also interior for smells of mold and must, because people are naughty and they don't replace the roofs. My auntie had one of these and it did stink of mold. Well, what should I buy? How much should I pay? I'd avoid anything pre-1975. The old Triumph 1.2 engines, far too slow. Get yourself a nice 1.5-litre car, mid to late 70s. Get the best you can afford. No point in buying a £3,000 car that needs £3,000 worth of work and then ends up being worth £5,000. Join the Triumph Owners Club. They'll point you in the right direction. We found this 1976 1.5-litre car, very good condition. This apparently is Mimosa yellow, fully overhauled, front axle and steering rack, poly bushes, new seals, new bearings, fully overhauled rear axle, brake pipe, half shafts, new leaf spring and shocks, differential overhauled, electric ignition, new leads and sports coil, all new cooling hoses, water pump, stainless steel exhaust, twin center silencers. This car's been garaged for 10 years and it is going to cost you 250 quid. Under £6,000.
Nice.
5,750 ONO. What a bargain for a two-seater sports car that just screams 1960s. Is very cool. Going to get the heads turning in the summer and have that lovely petrol smell as well. So why not say chocks away, chaps, and treat yourself to a tribute to the most famous aircraft of World War II, allegedly, namely the Spitfire. My auntie had one. My mum's mate had one. My mum's mate had one until very recently, and she sold it because she's in her 70s, and it was getting a bit much.
Yeah.
And it was getting worse and worse, and she's just sold it and bought a new Beetle because she loves a soft top. But apparently she got to the shops one day and she'd done the big weekly shop and she forgot she was in the Spitfire. She thought she was in her husband's Land Rover. So I said, how did you get home? And she said she drove the Spitfire home with two French baguettes on the dashboard and the shopping just piled up in the seat. Nice. Every time she went around the corner, the shopping, cans of beans, lettuce, bananas, bottles of water, bottle of wine flew in her face. But listen, this is classic British motoring. I wouldn't buy one in America, even if they I had no idea where they exported them and built them in America. But in the UK, there's a lady that drives one of these near us, and she always wears a headscarf and sunglasses. And you can hear it coming a mile off, and you can smell the petrol. And everybody goes, that's really cool. And she enjoys it.
It is cool.
It's great, you know.
So let me get it straight. So this was 1970s, 60s, 70s?
Yeah, they designed it in the late 50s, all the way through the 60s and the 70s. They made it up to 1980 was the last year.
Because I was going to say, so that's another instance in the motoring industry where the car was named after the plane. So the Ford Mustang was named after the P-51 Mustang.
Oh, really? Oh, there you go then. Oh, okay, that's strange, but yes, very good. And of course, all Bristol cars were named after the company Bristol, who manufactured bombers during World War II.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
I like it. I think that's a simple car to work on. I don't think it's the fastest car in the world. And, you know, it's not a daily driver. Don't go out there and buy this as a daily driver because it'll break. If you want that, go and buy an MX-5. But if you want something to stick in your garage and wear your flat cap and motor around and have a bit of fun.
Pretty cool.
It's a pretty cool car. I think you could get one of those aviator jackets, you know, the ones that the fleecy ones.
Yes, fleecy linings. Yeah.
Well, there you go. If you want to get it on, if you want to suggest a classic car for the classic car selection, there are all the details. Car-Boyz@outlook.com, Facebook Car-Boyz at Car-Boyz with 4 Zs, Twitter Car-Boyz, always with a Z, at Car_Boys with a Z, Instagram at Car_Boys with 3 Zs. I think Instagram's the porno one. I'm not sure.
I'm still shocked you know what OnlyFans is.
I work with young people that tell me about these things. Also, my other job, the job that pays me the money, unlike this one, we covered a story about a lady who was a former policeman in the UK who now makes £150,000 a week.
Wow.
In OnlyFans, and apparently doesn't have to show her voo-voo.
Ooh.
So
interesting.
Yeah, so I'm investigating it. Always investigating, Simon.
Always research.
Always researching. Now this sound.
Keep it peeled.
Keep it peeled. Who was that? Was that
Shaw Taylor?
Shaw Taylor never appeared on OnlyFans. What does this sound mean, Simon?
It means it's time for Turd of the Week. or Pick of the Pups, subtitled Pick of the Pups,
Yeah.
which is a new feature on the show where we examined the terrible crimes committed against cars from across the world, putting a giant exhaust onto a 1994 VW Polo to hide in rust with plastic padding and even putting sawdust in the gearbox. We basically find a car for sale across the world, a terrible car that dared to mount the pile of feces to be crowned the glorious king of the hill. It's now time on Car-Boyz for the Pup of the Week, aka Turd of the Week. There you go, Richard's pushing one out now. This week we had we had an email from Terry in Birmingham.
Right.
He was inspired by last week's show where we featured the aging Rover 400 from Bournemouth. Remember that one?
Yeah.
This week, though, he has spotted online. He thinks it's definitely in the running. It's the wonderful teal blue, teal blue and rust. It's the crown and glory of the Rover brand, namely the Metro. It was the Metro, aka
Yes.
the Rover 100. It's a 1997 car near to the end of the model's run and only 60,000 miles on the clock with the 1.1 litre Rover engine. Not the K series engine, but it's
the one
Rover
that does. Yeah, it's not the one that
overheats.
overheats.
It's the SE model, which comes with the obligatory plastic wood paneling and, of course, the very royal name of Ascot. But this is a regal winner who will win by a few furlongs in the Derby, or is it a donkey that will fall at the last fence? We have to put it out of its misery by an Irishman with a gun, quite possibly.
Yes.
It is. It's an awful car.
It is a total pup. Now, the owner wants £300 for this. For a start, it's got no tax, it's got no MOT, and it's a non-runner. The owner doesn't state why it's a non-runner, which is worrying. The whole engine, let's get back to that beautiful engine bay. The whole engine could be seized. We don't know. That whole engine could be seized. It's being sold for spares or repairs, but I can't think why you'd want to get this car back on the road. When for a few £100 you could get a car newer than this that actually works. A 2002 Honda Civic will cost you less than £500, so just buy one of those if you want a car. There's no fan club for cars of this late vintage. The earlier ones, the Metro MG models, are desirable, but not this four-door lump. The engine bay looks rusted as heck. The wheels look appalling. The wheels, they look like space savers. They don't even look like steels. Interior isn't bad. Let's go take a look at that interior. Here we go. Here's the interior. It's not bad, but I think they're rather over-egging how much local car thieves want to steal this by putting a crook lock on this dog. Who's going to want to steal this? It doesn't work, but I'll put a crook lock on it. What really sticks out, though, in the advert is the 5 owners plus.
Ooh.
Which could mean 6 owners, or it could mean 600 owners. I wouldn't touch this dog with your barge pole, Simon, let alone my barge pole. It's old, it's knackered, it's not a classic. This 24-year-old banger should be consigned to the breaker's yard. But it does win in one sense, because this week it's been crowned Turd of the Week. So congratulations, Terry, who spotted this grandma car from the 1990s. Oh, that I don't know what's happened there. We've gone onto some adverts, but yes, that was marvelous. That last one there. So that's our pup of the week. Really, £300?
Even the Metro wasn't good, but the Rover 100.
Yeah, I mean,
it may have a different name. It's still.
To quote Alan Partridge, Lynne, you fool! It's just a rebadged Metro. You remember that episode? He has the opportunity to save Pear Tree Productions if he downgrades from the Rover, whatever, 600.
I think it's the 800
down to a Rover 100. He goes, I'm not driving that, Lynne. It's just a rebadged
Metro.
Bloody Metro, you fool. Yes.
Oh dear.
So yes, you'd be better off tearing your money up and throwing it in the bin, to be honest, wouldn't you?
Setting fire to it.
Just sets fire to the damn thing, because at the end of the day, this is just rubbish. I can't ever see a market for it. I mean, maybe it's just me, but there you go.
Look at that front panel. That front there, can you see it? The rust on that panel.
Let's have a look. Yeah. The rust all in the metalwork there. And an engine that you don't know. No. Bye-bye. That one's gone. It's time to take to the highways.
It is.
It is, if we can get some music going. It's quite nice.
Still doesn't beat the panpipe, so.
We're going to find the panpipe ones on there. It's somewhere in the middle.
It is, of course, time for the Lost Highways, which, of course, is our feature where listeners email us in to give us their favourite roads and the reasons why they love it. It could be a quiet coastal road that leads down to the sea. Alternatively, it could be a straight two-lane blacktop that leads to infinity and invites you to go on the pedal to the metal. Whatever your poison is, let us know your perfect driving roads here on Car-Boyz. First in the Highways inbox, Susie Sue from Sioux City. Easy for you to say. Iowa says, Dear Car-Boyz, my favourite drive is in the African country of Senegal, famous for the ending of the Paris-Dakar rally. You should travel on the national road, the N2, on the 125-mile trip from Ourossogui to Kidira, a journey that takes around 3.5 hours. The road connects the west and the east, or the east and the west of the country in a large arc following the northern frontier, 40 miles from the outskirts of the capital, Dakar, and the edge of the border with Mali. Dakar, isn't that where Margaret Thatcher's son got lost in the rally?
Yeah, I think he did. That was the famous Mark Thatcher got lost in the desert and they didn't find him. They thought he disappeared.
Yes.
He couldn't even do that properly. Yeah, he was useless at coups as well. Couldn't do military coups, couldn't drive a car.
As Senegal drives on the right, and you can see you can use your own driving license for up to 6 months. Most of the major routes are well maintained. Those smaller roads are poorer and lack street lighting. During rainy season, it's better to use a four-wheel drive vehicle. If you like your driving on the edge, Senegalese driving standards are poor, with them regularly exceeding the speed limit. No different to here. Tailgating, no different to here. And using the wrong side of the road to overtake, no different to here. I advise you to carry a small denominational banknotes in your pocket in case you meet police and have to cross their palms.
I do like developing countries. Thailand was like that. You just take a few baht and you go, if I give you this, will my problems go away? That's a better picture than mine. My printer's running out, I think. Yes, that's it looks like a lovely, that's probably the only piece of decent tarmac in the whole thing.
It looks pretty good.
I've only driven in Atlas Mountains, Morocco, which were superb roads.
Ooh.
I don't know whether they've got funding from the EU or funding from France, or they like spending money on the roads. The roads in the Atlas Mountains were amazing. And I think we were trying to get back to Marrakesh, and it was Ramadan, and the driver was flooring it because he was, you could see when they get
he was hungry.
He was starving. He'd lined up 2 boiled eggs, a couple of cigarettes, and a can of pop, and it was Ramadan. So until he gets the text when it says the sun's officially down, and he's driving like this, I'm so hungry. Bing! Starts on the egg, smoking a cigarette, starts on the can of pop, and he's driving because he wants to go and have his dinner. Because then for the next 6 hours, he's eating. But the road was fantastic. My wife's been to Senegal, and she says I don't think she spoke highly of the roads. But you definitely need a 4-wheel drive in Africa. Finally, in this segment, we're off to Puerto Rico, Hola, where Luis gets in touch and says, hey, dear Car-Boyz, we have a lovely island here. I've never been to Puerto Rico. I've been next door to the Dominican Republic, and I can tell you there's no drink drive law in the Dominican Republic. You don't
Interesting.
Drive. It's such a lovely island here for you guys to explore. The best experience is the Ruta Panoramica. Scenic route. Here we go. It's a 167-mile network of some 40 secondary roads which traverse the island of Puerto Rico. Those blue lines aren't there. I
was going to say.
Give you the picture, Simon, because this is my printer.
Well, he did send in another picture. That's one of the other routes of Dakar.
Oh, that's Dakar.
Sorry, not Dakar. Puerto Rico. Yes, I haven't got that.
Hang on.
No.
You haven't got it. Okay,
no. Go with the turquoise.
This, but better. The turquoise has been added by my printer. So it's a 167-mile network of some 40 secondary roads which traverse the island of Puerto Rico from the west to the east along the Cordillera Central Mountain Range, Cordillera Central. Most of the route consists of 3 roads, PR-105, PR-143, PR-128. The route starts in Meguez and ends in Maunabo. This scenic highway cuts through some of the least explored but most rewarding parts of the island. snaking amongst mist-shrouded peaks, scintillating viewpoints, and dense, dimly lit forests. This is rural Puerto Rico at its most traditional, a patchwork of small coffee farms shrouded in rainforest where the local colmado shop doubles as a bar, and smoky roadside barbecues cooks up roast pork and thick wedges of banana. I
Oh,
like the sound of that. I like a
oh.
bit of roadside barbecue.
A shop that doubles up as a bar.
I like that as well. That takes me back to my native island. Ah, we've been changing tires here as well. But if you like to wait and a pint of Guinness, oh, we got Guinness and Jameson's. Have you got anything else? No, just the Guinness and the Jameson's. What about wine? No, we got Guinness and the Jameson's. But the lady on the end that runs the post office as well. So if you like a stamp, we can sort you out with a stamp as well. It'll be fine. I like places like that. I love that. It's a bar. We
Yes.
do wait, car serviced. Yeah, you can do that. Thank you very much, guys. I've never driven. I've been to, as I said, I've been to Dominican Republic, which is next door, which is beautiful, and the roads in Domrep are very, very good as well. Apart from the
Nice.
not so much the driving laws about you can drunk drive
Yes.
everywhere,
Not
but I
encouraging
would
that.
in Puerto Rico is part of America, sort of, isn't it? So I think I don't know whether you can fly direct from the UK. Certainly from the state, I think you might have to go into Miami and then go south. And I know they had lots and lots and lots of problems regarding the tropical storms they had a couple of years ago.
Oh, yeah.
But it is probably the only thing I think about the Puerto Rico hasn't got beaches. I don't think it's got the best beaches in the Caribbean.
Oh.
It might put you off if you are a sun worshipper.
Hopefully someone will sponsor us and we'll go and check it out.
That's what we need. We need the Puerto Rico Tourist Board to help us promote the beautiful island of Puerto Rico. All we require are some hotel rooms, 2 tickets, a copious amount of Bacardi.
Oh.
Cigars, because Bacardi is based in Puerto Rico now. That's what
Okay, yeah.
if you want to find out more about Puerto Rico, I would suggest you read Rum Diary by Hunter S. Thompson. And it's a sort of semi-fictional account of his early days as a journalist
Oh, interesting.
in the early 1960s.
Or the Puerto Rico Tourist Board,
Or the Puerto
who
Rico
don't
Tourist
sponsor
Board.
the show.
But they can if they like. We are open. We can be bribed. Email the Car-Boyz at car if you want to get do all this stuff. Basically, look at this, press pause, and if you would like to get a suggested place for us to go and explore, Puerto Rico Tourist Board, you can write to us and say, I've got a lot of highway you guys haven't featured, and some rum to give away. Now it's time. It's time in this part of the show to take a pensive moment and while I cue up the music, and take a look at something that's been bulging and overflowing. It's the mail sack. It's a big one this week. There you go. Very medieval.
There you go. The mail sack, which cannot be seen on our OnlyFans page because we don't have one. We have an email from a viewer called Carl from Washington, Tainan. He says, "Why, hey, Car-Boyz," says Carl. He's got an issue with a very old Renault Espace. Yes. The issue is it's a Renault Espace.
Hey, well done.
It's a 2003 model. It's been mostly good. It's his second car, and he uses it to pick up his kids from school. They do weekly shopping in. He says the heater is not blowing hot air, and sometimes there's a wet patch on the carpet. I know how he feels. So he says, well, the second is probably what you get from taking grandma to the shops.
That's the wet patch, isn't it, grandma?
Hey. It says, what's the answer? So first thing I would have gone if it's going cold, yes, is the heater matrix and the pipes leading to the matrix. Because one's going to be hot, one's been cold, and the way to tell this is obviously if you leave your engine running for a bit and let the water flow, if you hold the pipes that go into the bulkhead, if it's hot, the water's flowing through it and the water's heating up. So then that way you know whether the heat is going through and it's the matrix. Little tip for you.
If the matrix has gone, that's very good. You can go online, internet auction site. They'll be able to. We had a look at second-hand ones, but I found a brand new one for your car for £50. So it's an easy fix, isn't it? 50 quid
That's pretty
fix.
good, yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
probably another 50 quid for a garage. It's Tyne and Wear, so another £5 for a garage down
A
here in
packet
London.
of cigarettes and
Yeah.
chips.
Oh, that's right. 3 pence, and you're gonna have a really good night out in Tyne and Wear. I have actually been to Washington many years ago. I think about 40 years ago. I went to Washington. Tyne and Wear. It was great. Lots of memories. Meanwhile, thank you very much for that. Cheers, buddy. Hope that helps. Oscar is from Vancouver. He says, hello from Canada, Car-Boyz. What's that all about? He's just started a new teaching job at the local high school. He's graduated from college last year. He's been driving an old beta car. It is a 1994 Chrysler LeBaron. Look at this dog, which he inherited from his uncle. It's finally giving up the ghost. It needs too much welding. It will not start in the mornings. He needs a reliable car now that he's got to commute 20 miles to work. Now his uncle, who is buying a Lexus, is offering him, his uncle's great, his old 2004 Honda Civic.
Where's a picture of Danny DeVito? Is that his, is that his uncle?
We need Danny DeVito back. Where's that gone? I don't know where that picture's gone. Hey, come on, kid. I'll tell you a car. So what happened is he's getting rid of this car, which is his 2004 Honda Civic 4-door DXG Auto. The car's in good condition. It's got 110 on the clock. It's got a full service history. His uncle wants $2,000, which is about £1,000. What do you think? I think your uncle should bloody well give it you for free if he gave you this piece of crap to start off. Look at Le Baron, Le Grand Merde, more like. So you've struggled with this crap through college.
Yeah.
And then he's going, I got another shit car that I want you to have, kid. Come over here.
Well, throughout his life will be punctuated by shit cars that his uncle's given him.
In 10 years, I'll get rid of this shit Lexus. You can have that as well. To be fair, this has got low mileage. My father has the same car, but the coupe version, which he loves. And he can't kill it. I think these were manufactured. They may have been manufactured in Canada. My dad's was manufactured in California. It's got 115 horsepower. It's got a 1.7 litre engine. It's not a fast car, but it's going to be more reliable and faster than that old Chrysler. It's not going to be fast. What it will be, I should say, it's reliable. It's got the VTEC engine. As long as it's been regular serviced, you will get $250,000 out of this car, miles. For £1,000, drive it into the ground. I would ask your uncle if he'll take the LeBaron in part exchange.
Yes.
Come on,
it's
you
only
can
fair.
take this dog back. Give me $250, $500 off the price of this. If you buy this,
yes,
I guarantee you're going to thank me for buying this car, because this will be a reliable, boring car. But my dad will not. My dad just every year something else goes wrong with it, and then he gets it fixed for a couple of $100, and then he carries on driving it.
And especially if this is like your second car.
Well, totally.
Then why not?
Yeah,
you want something that's not going to cause you issues.
I think you should be questioning your uncle though, because he does sound like he does sound like a bit of a, hey, you know that LeBaron I sold you? I got an even better car.
It's his uncle.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Oh, you mean like that? One of those. Hey, Uncle Tommy. There's 3 bodies in the back of this, mother. Get rid of it for me, and I'm going to get you a new car. You'll be wicked smart when you drive this. Yeah, honestly, the Honda is all that crap. The LeBaron you'll have had loads of problems with. This is just muck. This is a reliable, boring car, but I would just jump on it, buy it for £1,000, $2,000.
Doesn't matter if it gets dented, anything like that.
Just drive around. And honestly, I swear, my father. And also, there's a whole industry supplying. So my father's boot catch went. The little plastic switch underneath the dash.
Yeah.
So my dad had a pair of pliers on it, and I was like, "This is embarrassing, Dad." Every time I wanted to open the boot, the end stuck out. Basically, just needed the new plastic. He didn't want to buy the whole cabling assembly.
Yeah.
And a little company in Michigan sells one for $15. So it cost me $15 to get the catch, and then the guy in the garage, I think, fitted it for £20. So all done, all sorted, and certainly better than my uncle using that. Sorry, I should say my dad. I'm thinking of my other uncle.
Hey.
This one. Hey, come on, buy this car. And it's a fixable, easy, reliable car. Never had problems with the engines. And my dad's got 120 on the clock. We're still on the original exhaust.
Cool.
And it's a 17-year-old car.
Fantastic.
Buy one of those.
So there you go. Email from Stephen in Stevenage. There you go. He says, "Howdy, car blokes. Howdy,
Yeah.
howdy.
Stevenage.
Could be an American
Nice.
Stephen in.
Yeah.
He says, "Howdy, car blokes. You guys are talking about the change from E5 to E10 petrol
We
in
were.
September in the UK. We did this on last week's show.
Yes.
I drive a 1999 Toyota Camry, but I'd really prefer not to have to sell the car and run it on expensive fuel. It's a solid motor, but I just can't find you. But I just can't find if you can put the new E10 fuel into the tank. Can you help?" So this was last week's show. If you didn't see last
Yeah.
week's show, look on one of the links. It will tell
Yeah.
you
The
where
E
that
so,
is.
so basically E10 contains 10% more ethanol by volume than
Yes.
E5. As a general rule, most cars post 86 I looked this up. Most cars post 86 can run on E10, whereas most cars that once ran on leaded fuel or are carbureted cannot. This is due to the ethanol component, so it's 10% rather than 5%, carrying more water by volume. The water present in this fuel can cause corrosion on the engine or fuel parts and cause a buildup of engine residues. Some cars that are compatible with 5% ethanol are not necessarily also compatible with 10%, so caution must be taken when referring to the car's fuel requirements. But I had a look online, and as far as I can see, any Camry produced after 1990 should be fine as they're not carbureted. I'd be tempted to run a third tank on the super unleaded, as it's an older car with a huge engine. This thing's got a 3-litre V6.
Ooh, nice.
I do this with my Accord. So my Accord's 2.6, something
Yep.
like that. And I put every third tank, I stick the good juice. I spend the money. I put the expensive stuff in. I don't know. Maybe it's just a mental thing with me.
I do it all the time.
Do you? Do you do it all the time? Okay, won't tell anybody. It does feel like I go faster, or maybe that's just my heavy foot. But anyway, I do think, yeah, you'll be fine to do that. Japanese engines are solidly built. I mean, as long as you're not trying to put terps or cooking oil in it, it's going to be fine. What do they call it in Australia? My brother used to run a classic Golf GTI, and they said you can't put the E10 in it. And as the mechanic said to him, "Mate, that's weasel piss. Don't put weasel piss in one of these." And he wasn't from South Africa. Finally, we got our final one. Michel in Toulouse. Bonjour, voiture garçon. Vous êtes bien? Oui, nous sommes très bien, merci. So, voiture garçon, of course, meaning Car-Boyz. Voiture garçon. She says she's in need of some advice. Oh, actually, this is quite apt in a week that I think they've just banned Pepe Le Pew. Pepe Le
Really?
Pew, yeah, Pepe Le Pew has been outed because he's far too many Me Too moments with cats that have accidentally got white stripes of paint on their back.
See.
Him and Speedy Gonzales, which is racist.
Andre.
What I was going to say, if you say arriba, arriba, ondale, ondale, all I think of is Speedy Gonzales.
Yes.
That's how I first learned about Mexican culture when I was 3 years old. So she's French.
Yes.
She says she's needed some advice. She's got an old Suzuki Jimny.
Ooh.
We'd all like one of those. And she said she uses it to commute to and from work in Toulouse. That's a round trip of 15 miles. She also uses it to visit her parents who live in the Pyrenees. It's got 4-wheel drive. So she needs winter when traversing mountainous roads. When it's the winter, she said that the Jimny it's old now. It needs more work than it's worth. It's 20 years old. Time for an upgrade. Is there a small car with 4x4 capacity or an all-wheel drive car? She needs to maybe drive every month up into the Pyrenees in winter. She's got 10,000 euros. So if you're already driving a Jimny, why don't you just go and buy a new one? Just buy another Jimny. I hired one of these in Corfu years ago. It was great fun to drive around. This is a 2012 model, 1.3-litre petrol car, 58 on the clock, very good condition, full service history, 2 owners. That's in Marseille for 9,000 euros. They've got a new model out since this one came out. So this is, the new model makes the old model cheaper. Why not just go and buy those? Alternatively, if it was me, I'll go for a 2011 Toyota RAV4. We found a 2.2-litre diesel, 75 on the clock. I haven't got the picture with me, but 75,000 on the clock, 3 owners, good condition, black, 4-door, bigger car, exactly the same price though, a much more reliable and a much more comfortable car to drive than this. This is all right, but it's not that comfortable to drive. A 2.2 litre diesel RAV4 is going to be a nice, comfortable car to drive. It'll perform as a 4x4 when you need it.
Can I just say, with that chimney picture, the white
Yes.
chimney,
Yes.
was it 1.3 litre engine?
I think it was, yeah.
I'm loving the little air box at the top of the bonnet.
Yeah, what's that for? Is that for anything? No.
No.
What is that? No. Does that actually go anywhere, that air scoop?
No.
When I was at school, there was a gang of lads that used to drive around in old Austins, and one of them jacked up a Princess, the last version of the Princess, which looked like a wedge of cheese, but he jacked it more, put a friggin' air scoop on the bonnet. I was like, why? There was never a turbo on that engine, unless he'd fitted a turbo. It looked awful. It looked ridiculous.
I've got a hood scoop on my car.
But do you need the hood scoop?
It's where the turbo is, but on the original Mini, it's where the supercharger was.
So you haven't got a supercharger?
So, no. But it looks quite good because when you stop, the heat comes out. You know.
Oh, well, there you go. It does. It vaguely does something then, I guess.
I did see I can't remember what it was, and I was driving at the time, so I didn't get a picture. But there was a really crap car, and I can't remember what it was. But they had put bonnet vents in there, and I just thought it was a really, really shit car.
I know that the new Kia Stinger has bonnet vents that don't do fuck all.
There's a lot. That's the new trend of cars. Lots of vents that aren't actually vents.
I've got a feeling that the Hellcat has got fake lights. So it's got some lights, and then within the lights, supposedly they've put in that's the air intake to cool the car down, except behind it is blocked off. So then they've got something fake on the side of the Stingers. I think the Jaguar's got something. The last model of the XK has got some fake stuff behind the front wheel.
And bear in mind, a lot of cars have got grills, but don't need them because if they're electric, you don't need that grill.
You don't need the cooling air. Aesthetically pleasing. That's what it's all about. Is it competition time?
It is competition time.
I can't find the clapping now.
Oh well.
I'm trying to find your audience.
I'll have to go with that.
Oh, here they are. Here they are.
Yes. All on a minibus from Skegness.
Oh, they
all came over.
Had a lovely lunch. The bendy bullies are safe. Weatherspoons on the way home when they're drunk.
Yes, when they can get married in Weatherspoons.
Indeed. Right information.
This week, the big quiz on Car-Boyz is the Car-Boyz theory test. So it's a good 21 years or so since I got my driver's license.
Yes.
Me being slightly younger than you.
Yes.
I had to do a theory test. You didn't have to do one, did you?
No, you fool. No, 1994 I took my test, and no, just the bloke asked me just in a highway code and went, "What does that mean? What does that mean? What's this?"
Yes,
I went, that.
So that's why I thought this week we will be testing our unlucky contestant, which is Richard from Southwest London. Some questions in the theory test. It's pretty simple. It's a quiz sponsored by the Royal Water. Which I don't think.
Smell £30 million wasted.
We have 10 questions, multiple choice. Excellent. And this week you are playing for, and I'm really looking forward to this. It is some quilted floor mats.
Oh,
this is the news.
Now, look, far be it for me to say, I don't tend to drive in slippers and or barefooted. In what world would I want quilted floor mats? I don't even get carpet in. Why do you need carpet in cars apart from sound deadening?
No.
I get a carpet in my car, then I put the carpet mat on the top, and then up on the top of that I put a rubber mat. Then I clean the rubber mat of all the mud. What's the point of this?
Quilted car mats. And they will actually tailor them to your car and any colour you want.
Really? Can I have it in purple?
This week. Okay. Yes, if
now
you so
thinking.
Wish.
So looks like the inside of a coffin. Oh, gold.
Oh.
Everybody will think it's yes. I was going to say something. I won't say it. Yeah. Everybody will think I drive a taxi for a living if I get it in gold.
So this is the prize that you're playing for.
I
We've
can't
got 10
wait.
questions,
Fantastic.
multiple choice.
Mm.
So question number one.
Yes.
You're about to go down a steep hill.
Oh, yes.
To control your speed of your vehicle, what should you do? Should you A, select a low gear and avoid using your brakes?
Yes.
B, use a high gear but use the brakes firmly? Or C, select a low gear and use the brakes carefully?
I don't actually believe that's a hill. I think that's a Dutch shot. If you just twist it slightly the other way. Look, it's not a hill, is it? Okay.
This is an actual road in San Francisco.
Oh, it's that one. Yeah, I've never been to San Francisco. Yeah. I'm sure I'm missing out.
Select a
Okay,
low gear and avoid using the brakes.
Yeah,
High
no.
gear, use the brakes firmly, or select a low gear.
Oh,
and
it's the
use
third
the
one.
brakes
Select a third gear.
Absolutely
yeah,
right.
Thank you.
Right answer. 1 out
Yeah,
of 1. Well
thank
done.
you.
Question
I always
number
judge
2.
a person by the amount they brake. I always I know that's nothing to do with the highway code, but if I'm behind somebody and it's brake, 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 I go. The other thing you could do is take your foot off the accelerator and just coast, mate, and just coast. You're in third. Take your foot off the accelerator. It's dead easy. Not this.
You always have to second guess what they do. But anyway, question number 2. One out, one so far. While you're traveling at a legal speed, that's a legal speed, another car behind you is trying to overtake. Look, there it is.
Am I on LSD in this scenario? Because it looks like I am. Yeah.
Should you try and stop the driver from doing so? A, yes, or B, no?
So what am I? I'm going at Lynne. No! I'm not a bloody policeman. It's him. F off.
Absolutely right. Correct answer. Yes. No, you shouldn't.
What do with me? What is this? Are these real questions?
Yes, they are real.
I just tell them to. Oh, I'll get out the car. I'll stop. Get out. You're going too fast. You can't overtake. And watch out as the 17-stone truck driver gets out
with a tire.
The tire
wrench.
iron. Yeah, wrench. Beats the crap out of me. Oh, I won the moral victory. Ow.
2 out of 2. Well done. Question number 3. Which of these will be badly affected if the tires are underinflated?
Yes.
Braking, A, braking, or B, suspension?
Braking.
Absolutely right. Correct answer.
Thank you.
See, you could easily pass.
This is good, isn't it? They might get me out on my my drive, on my inability to recognise 20 miles an hour as a speed limit.
We've got one of those questions coming up later.
I don't accept that. Go
on. Question number 4. We have got a picture of a snowy motorway here.
Oh, yeah.
If you have to slow down quickly on a motorway due to a hazard, should you A, wave your arms out the window, B, use your hazard lights, or C, sound your horn?
It's the hazard lights, I'm pretty sure.
It is. Yeah. Of course it is, because you would look a complete fool if you were just waving your arms out of the window. Horn. Well done, 4 out of 4. Question number 5. Let's look at this picture. So during and after torrential rain, because we have a lot of it in this country, the motorway is causing new visibility problems. Spray is affecting your view of the motorway and affecting general driving conditions. What should you do? Should you A, turn on full beam, B, drive with your hazards on, or C, turn on your dipped beams?
It's dip beams.
It is. See, nothing to it. Absolutely.
Like
5 out of 5.
Like fog. The first time you drive in fog, you go, I know, I'll make it worse by putting full beam on. I go, no, that's not helped.
Most people don't know how to use fog lights.
Ugh, or the old people that leave them on. So you get a bit of fog. In the Honda, both my Hondas, it's very good because you flick on the stalk, you flick it forward for the fronts because I've got funky spots.
Yeah.
Put them on to be cool anyway. And then on the back, you turn the switch backwards, and that does the back ones.
Yeah.
Well, when visibility is, it's good to have the fog lights on. And then it's always some old guy in a micro in the central lane. It's now bright sunshine, and the git has got his fog light. I don't know why it winds me up. Turn your bloody fog lights off, you old. Other good thing about fog lights is if somebody's right up your arse. This isn't in the highway code. and really up your arse, just pop on the fog lights and watch them shit themselves.
Ooh, that could be interesting.
Done that a couple of times.
Question number 6.
On private roads in another country.
Obviously, yes. Yeah. Question number 6. When should you update your V5C, which is this form here?
Yes.
It's when you have a vehicle.
Yes.
A, if you have an accident. B, when you get a new MOT. Or C, when you move home.
It's, of course, when you move home.
Absolutely right. Correct answer. So far so good. 6
Doing
out
well
of 6.
here.
Question number 7. You're driving along. Here's a picture. You're driving
Am
along,
I singing a song?
singing a song when you come to an area that is flooded.
Yes.
You drive through it, but then you speed. But then you need to dry off your brakes.
Yes.
How do you do this? Do you A, pull over and stop for 30 minutes? Charge your car if you've got an electric vehicle, which probably won't work.
It's flatted out by now. It's shorted out.
B, drive slowly and gently apply your brakes when it's safe to do so. Or C, speed up and brake hard 3 times.
It's the middle one.
It is.
Thank
B,
you.
drive slowly and gently apply your brakes when it's safe to do so.
I'll give another.
Speed up.
Yes.
And braking 3 times doesn't work.
I would get out, dry them with a towel. No, it's been a while since I drove through really flooded water, and years, like 20 years, in my old Citroen. And I was on my way to work. And I don't know whether I'm going to get through this water, but screw it. Put your car into a lower. It's the opposite of what you want to do on snow. So on snow you want torque. So I put the car into a higher. I think I put it into a lower, so into second, and I rev the tits off the car to get me through. Actually, no, it's not. It is the same as snow. You put in a higher, but really rev the car. Then when you get through it, keep revving the car. Take the car out of gear and rev. What you want to do is try and burn off the water off the engine.
I see. Yeah. Fantastic.
Sorry, my advice was appalling. So you want the torque. See, it's the same as snow, but you will also want to rev the bollocks off the engine as well. So I did. I think I got to my mum's house, put the car in neutral, kept the car running, and I actually popped a brick onto the accelerator. To rev the car. Oh, also, and they don't have it anymore. Is when I drove through it, I pulled the choke all the way out, just to really.
Oh, man,
it came over the front bonnet. That's how bad it was.
The
water, it was really bad. That was when I did my 12-hour radio show. Started at 7 at night, and I finished the radio show at 7 in the morning.
And your Citroen survived.
Citroen survived, and I drove home. It was flooded everywhere when I drove home from the radio station. So I drove home on the pavement because it was such a small Citroen. Just went, no coppers around. Fuck this! I need to get home.
Yeah, fantastic.
Good news.
7 out of 7 so far. It's question number 8. Doing well for those quilted.
Pointless. I'm gonna buy them, but then put them in my coffin. Then I won't have to pay for the lining. I could just go for a pine coffin, or maybe marine ply, chipboard. Put some nice. There's nice. I fancy gold.
You'd be comfortable in that.
Oh, gold. Yeah, my head could rest on the little foot space there. Yeah.
Question number 8.
Yes.
What times must you avoid non-emergency horn usage? Because we've all got to avoid our horn usage in a built-up area. Is it A, between 11:30? Hello.
5 minutes.
That's one of our. That's the audience. The audience taken over.
5 minutes. Yeah. Well, I'm doing this first. Bye. See you, Steve. Yeah, I'll be teaching him to drive in about 15 years, won't I? That'll be fun.
Question number 8. What times must you avoid non-emergency horn usage in a built-up area? Is it A, between 11:30 p.m. and 7 a.m., B, between 7 p.m. and 7 a.m., or C, there are no restrictions?
No, there definitely is. There's the horn. I would say reality all the time. What did you say? I think it's
A, 11:30 p.m. and between 11:30 p.m. and 7 a.m., or B, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m.
For some reason, I've got 9 p.m. in my head. I think it's 11 p.m. and 7 a.m.
Yeah, absolutely right. Between 11:30 p.m. and 7 a.m.
Yeah.
That's when you can't use your horn. 8 out of 8.
Yeah.
Question number 9. You're driving along a road that is lit. Here's a road. It could be this road.
Is it lit? Is it lit in the sense my kids use the word lit?
It's
lit.
lit.
No. It's lit. Is it legit?
It's
legit. It's lit, man. It's legit.
You're driving along the road, it's lit by street lights, but there are no signs to tell you what the speed limit is. In these circumstances, the speed limit is usually what? Is it A, 20 miles an hour, B, 30 miles an hour, or C, 50 miles an hour?
30 miles an hour.
Absolutely right.
I
Ding!
thought there's space between lampposts as well. Isn't it lampposts at a certain space that you have to
Depends how fast you're going, because then obviously the faster you're going, the space
realistically,
is
if there's nobody else around, I'm doing what the fuck I want. Obviously, in another country, not in this country.
Yes, or on
private
driving
road.
roads. And for you, it's absolutely safe. You've got these. They're in the bag.
Fantastic.
Tailor-made.
Do you know? I'm not sure I've ever won a 10 out of 10. If I get this right, I'm going to be very happy.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever won.
Question number 10. You're driving along when another driver does something that upsets you. Bit like the bus driver to me this morning.
Oh, really?
You should you A, flash your lights, B, sound your horn, or C, pull over and calm down?
So I got A, lights.
Yeah,
it's C. It's C, isn't it?
It is C. Absolutely, 10 out of 10. And
but reality, wind down the window, call him a see you next Tuesday. And if these are my plates I'm driving on, if you do want to find me, wind down your window, lean out, call him a see you next Tuesday. Please.
This morning I was driving through Chelsea, and
as is your wont.
Yes.
As you drove, were you followed by 1960s music? Do, 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 as you drove round in your soft top E-Type Jag. You were wearing a
scarf, a cravat.
Yeah, a cravat. You were wearing a hello, girls. Do, 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 do. Here he comes, driving through Chelsea.
There was a double-decker bus that was in a lane that said you could only turn right.
Okay.
And it decided it would go straight on. So I'm going, well, what are you doing? Yeah. He decides to stop when he eventually gets into the bus lane and looks at me. And I'm going, you're a professional driver. Do you not understand what these road signs mean?
No. They have different road signs in Romania, I think you'll find.
Or in Chelsea.
Or in Chelsea. No, he was just jealous of your Jaguar. Hello, ladies. Had you grown a moustache as well? Hello, girls. I'm driving my Jaguar.
My name is Leslie Phillips.
Through Chelsea. All right. Ooh, do. Did you get back to your apartment and did you have one of those wicker chairs suspended from the ceiling?
Spin round.
Yeah, spin round in it. I know your place. You've got carpet that goes at the side of the bath. A sunken bath.
Oh, yes.
Lava lamp. And then some smoke came from under the door and it went and you found yourself on an island in the middle of nowhere and you said, I'm not a number, I'm a free man.
Free man.
And that'll teach you to drive your Lotus 7 round Westminster. Be seeing you. Cultural reference there for everybody over the age of 40. I win those wonderful car seats. I can hardly wait. They're for car mats. Disgusting. I'm going to get them in Emperor Gold. I'm never going to use them. And then when I die, I'm going to get the kids to
the coffin.
Yeah, just get stapled up to the side of the coffin. And I will go to Valhalla in luxury.
Oh, look at that.
When would you? I still don't understand. I don't drive my car in slippers. I just go, I went to the Geneva Motor Show in 1996.
Yes.
And because we were British and we were the only British people they'd seen there apart from journalists, they were like, what are you doing here? I said, well, my girlfriend at the time, she works in France. We come to Geneva for the day and the motor show's on. And all the British guys went, we're great, we're here some Brits. And they let us sit in all the cars. I sat in Aston Martins and Rolls Royces. We sat in a Jaguar with lamb's wool carpets. And I went, whenever are you going to drive barefoot? What the effing point is this? The fuck? And in fact, they released the Honda Element in the late 90s, early noughties, and it had plastic floors that you could wash down with a hose. I went, yes, exactly. Why would you not want anything else but this? I'd still put bloody rubber mats in there because I'm an anally retentive git about the interior of my car. But I don't get carpets. The only point of carpets is sound deadening. Otherwise, what's the point? Then I don't have any carpets in my house. I'm so happy. This is a victory for mankind, a victory for the show. I'm going away. That's the
with some
first time I've got
comments.
10 out of 10. I'm very
That's very
pleased
good,
with my
yeah.
knowledge. So I can now pass the test. I can legally drive. Yeah, we didn't have to do that when I learned to pass my test. I literally had a guy with a red flag in front of the car. It was that long ago. So yes, that's about it from the show. Thank you very much for tuning in. Should we come back next week? Do you think?
Yes, I think we
What
should.
do you think? You think we should
One
come
week
back
closer
next
to
week?
being out of lockdown. So yes.
I don't think we're ever going to be close. Well, okay, we will be closer to coming out of lockdown, but as men, we're never going to be allowed to walk the streets of London
Ever.
again after 6 o'clock. So we're going to have to go out and have a few beers in the day. That's going to be the plan of action. Thank you for tuning in. Tune in next time, and we'll see you then.